the Department of Science and Technology and Earth Sciences for the first time. This responsibility was earlier held by, in fact, guided by our own Prime Minister, and he gave this responsibility to me. And then now, after having worked in this field for almost 3 years, after having worked in the field of health, which was a passion area for me and which was like a heart and soul work for me, I strongly feel that this is probably the greatest blessing in disguise of my life. And as a science and technology minister, you have the confidence to actually solve anything that you can actually, which is posed before you as a problem. All these unresolved and unsolved problems of this country, which unfortunately our countrymen continue to face in every field, science has a solution to each one of them. And that is where I feel so happy that this particular place has that input of doing some research and development activities. In our own ministry itself, there are hundreds of things on which we are doing research. There are at least a few hundred products and processes which are in the pipeline, which are going to help the common man in a number of different ways. If I talk about your field also, I think in another few months, maybe not more than 2-3 months, you will have probably the best state-of-the-art dental implant made in India, available at a cost 1/3 of what it is available now, and which will be comparable to the best in the whole world. And this we have done with the help of a tripartite agreement and a research jointly done with the IIT Delhi, Maulana Azad Institute, and then our CSIR. CSIR, I don't know how many of you know about CSIR. But I want all of you to know about CSIR, because once you know about it, then you will be able to start thinking about not only your patient being given the treatment, but then you will start thinking about providing the best possible solution to 125 crore Indians. Oral health, oral hygiene and all these things, they will no longer be only theoretical concepts which will be available to only a handful of people. Because to deliver things to a large number of people, you need things which are affordable, easily accessible, easily available, easily implementable, and in far-off areas in the whole country, you have to see that people have access to them. CSIR is a group of 38 highly developed research and development laboratories where new technologies are discovered. This institution, like your institution, is also born before independence in 1945. CSIR was born in 1942. And there are some of these institutions of CSIR. It is hats off to the leaders of that era, like Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru and Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee was the first science and technology minister of India. That some of these institutions were born even 8 days after we got independence. You can imagine that to conceive of an institution within 7 days of being born by the first leaders of a few leaders of the country. And today, when I talk to you with a dynamic Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the helm of affairs, we have 1,200 institutions like this all over the world, where we do science and technology, where we do research, come out with new products, new processes, which are funded by the government of their own countries. So out of those 1200 CSIR like institutions all over the world, I don't think you can imagine where do we stand today. We stand at a position which will be beyond your comprehension. We stand at 9th position. And similarly, there are something like 5,200 institutions like this, which are supported by public funding as well as the corporate funding, private funding. And out of those 5,200 institutions like this all over the world, we stand at 75. We are the only institution which finds a place amongst the 100 institutions in the country. So why I mentioned this, that there is a huge network of, this is only about CSIR. We have institutions of the DST, we have institutions of biotechnology, we have institutions of earth science, ocean science, we have institutions of space, atomic energy, so many things like that. And we have a collaboration with, very active collaboration with 44 advanced countries of the whole world in science, doing things together, including those with America, Canada, Germany, France, Japan, Israel, South Korea, any advanced country that you can think of. And I can tell you that our scientific acumen and our achievements and accomplishments are not inferior to anybody in the whole world, including that with America. Today we are 6th in the whole world, and maybe in another 1 or 2 years we'll become 3rd or 4th in terms of our publications in science. The overall growth rate for, average growth rate for scientific publications in the whole world is 4. Ours is 14. This is the level at which science has made significant strides and significant progress in India. And there is nothing that we can actually find a solution for in India, and we can do it ourselves. We have that much of ability and acumen. So I would like to use this occasion to actually pose before you a problem, because you all know I don't have to talk about what is the magnitude of the problem that people in India face pertaining to the dental issues. I am an ENT surgeon. I don't see the teeth, but I am forced to see the teeth when I enter the mouth. And I know that these dental ailments, they are a major issue. This is what for almost 20 years I've been talking to people like Dr. Harsh Vardhan, that we should create a battery of dental hospitals all over the country and see that this becomes a huge movement. But you have to also work out that you cannot provide access to every Indian to these advanced machines. They may be available in one place, 2 places, 10 places, 20 places. Even if you provide them to run these activities, you will need people who can afford them. But I am sure that if the associations, they apply their mind in a professional manner, they can certainly find out good quality solutions to at least do something with the help of science, develop new things, new products, new processes, which will be easy to use, which can be made handy. You see, one of our labs, they developed this shear scanner. You know, in India, 70% of the milk is adulterated. So they developed a shear scanner which, with a cost of just about 5 paisa, within 40 seconds, the scanner can detect all the, you can say, adulterant in the milk. First they developed a bigger model which was costing 70,000 to 1 lakh. And then recently within 6 months of that, they developed a handheld which is a cost of 5,000 rupees. It was released by our President of India only last month on 26th of September. And all application of the mind in the right direction. So I am offering to you that develop this, because this place is dedicated to the memory of two important people. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, I have known him very closely. You know how much of dedication. He used to carry those missiles on his bicycle, and from that level where he has taken us. Today, our Indian Space Research Organization is comparable to the best in the whole world. Out of the 104 satellites that were launched simultaneously, more than 90 were American satellites. In the Astrosat also, the Americans, they used our launch vehicle to put their satellites in orbit. We created the satellite for the South, we created that South Asian one to help the countries of the South Asia. We successfully accomplished the Mars orbiter mission in the first attempt. We are the only country in the whole world where we have done it successfully in the first attempt. And now, early next year, we'll have the launching of the Chandrayaan. So, why I mentioned this is all because of the solid foundation of these great scientists. So, now the next step, because you said this was your dream to establish this, but your next dream should be to work in the field of scientific research for development of equipments and processes which will be able to help the countrymen at a mass level for alleviating their sufferings related to the field of dentistry. And we all know that if you have an infected tooth or an unattended tooth with an ailment, how much the other organs of the body are at risk. You all know that. And with these millions and millions of people not getting access to the right type of you have an army of at least 1 lakh people who are registered with you, and as was told, there is another 3 lakh who are not registered. On one hand, these people can create a movement, and simultaneously you should work out a strategy to replicate this activity at 10 places in the country. Why only one in Delhi? You should think of, because unless you have a big dream, you will never be able to, because you had a dream, you could realize it. So your dream should be for 10 places, and then in the next 5 years plan for good quality research and development of new things which will be able to help the country at a mass level. So a lot of things are, I don't want to get into the nitty-gritty of this, but I can offer you the support of the Science and Technology Ministry. If you come out with the projects which are really useful, which will have a reasonably fruitful dividend which they can deliver in the long term, there is a mechanism in the department to objectively screen and scrutinize all such activities. And the Science and Technology Ministry supports hundreds of places all over the country. But the only criteria is that the place or the institution or the persons, they should really be worth it. There is no compromise. And I'm sure that with the people who are so well experienced, you can certainly come out with great ideas. Fortunately, we have an unusually proactive and dynamic, visionary Prime Minister at the helm of affairs. I don't say that because I belong to his cabinet, but I say that because I am part of his cabinet and I have seen him from close quarters. I don't think the country can have better fortune, because here is a man who thinks, eats, dreams all the time about creating a new India for millions of Indians. And that's why he has put before us this new dream of delivering a new India to all Indians by the year 2022. And for that he wants that everybody should be contributing. Every professional should be contributing. Every doctor should be contributing. Every scientist should be contributing. Every layman should be contributing in his own way. The scientist will contribute with his scientific acumen. And at the last Science Congress, he said that like the corporate social responsibility of the corporate world, the professionals and the scientists, they also have a professional social responsibility or a scientific social responsibility that they have to actually be, you can say, focused on. And today is an age where idea is more important than anything else. If you have a good idea, you can work wonders. And today is an age where the innovation coefficient is more important than any other emotional or whatever type of coefficients we used to talk about earlier. So this ideas economy, innovation coefficient, and fortunately the Prime Minister has a very ambitious program which we call as the Startup and the Stand-Up program. Anyone in this country, whether an educated professional, whether less educated, whether formally educated, whether illiterate, but if he has an idea and if he wants to do something for this country and if he wants to convert his idea into an entrepreneurship program, the whole government of Narendra Modi stands rock solid behind him with all its financial might and all its, you can say, technical and all sorts of support systems. So this is where I want that the success of this program, even if a few out of you develop a new dream, and I am sure that when you have a purpose behind a dream, there is always the God who helps. Dr. Mahesh Verma was just mentioning about the polio eradication program in this country. I'll just narrate the initiation of this program because that happened in the lawns of Babul Azad Medical College on 20th of December 1993. How a dream can be born and how a dream can be realized. and how the God can bless you to realize your dream. I became a minister on 3rd of December 1993, and I was invited to a function in Maulana Azad Medical College on 20th of December 1993, only 17 days later. And I was just delivering a speech like this. And somebody sent me a paper, a couple of doctors. They said, we want to meet you after the program. And just I conveyed to them, no problem. And then after the program, they took me to one corner of the ground. These were a few pediatricians. And they said, sir, are you aware that we are home to 60% of the polio cases of the whole world? I said, I know about polio, I know about immunization, but I am not aware of the statistics. I had become a minister only 17 days back, and there was this, I didn't know. Then they said, are you aware that you live in Delhi is home to 10% of the whole lot of cases that India has? I said, no, I don't know this also. Then they said, are you aware that the place from where you have been elected, that's the Trans-Yamuna area of Delhi, this is home to maximum number of cases of polio of the whole world. It was very shocking for me to hear that. And then I said, sorry, I don't know this also. Then finally they said, sir, are you aware that the World Health Organization has already pledged before the world in 1988 in its General Health Assembly that they want to eradicate polio from the face of the earth by the year 2000. There is a strategy to eradicate polio like we could do smallpox in 70s. But we have been running from pillar to post in this country for last 6 years. They were the doctors belonging to the Indian Academy of Pediatrics. And there are no takers for what we are saying. Everybody laughs at us. So will you be able to do something? We want you to take up this cause. I don't know. I heard everything and I went back home and kept thinking about it the whole night. I don't know when, at what moment the dream was born. And the next morning I wrote to the World Health Organization. They just sent me whatever has been done for polio in the whole world. They sent me this much of bunch of papers, and it took me almost 10 days to read all that. And then it's a long story. We worked after reading those papers, when I realized that countries, small countries have done great things in polio. Even big countries like Brazil have already done, the Pan-American countries have already done it. Why can't India do it? And then we started with a small conviction that if this country can provide ballot paper to everybody, in every nook and corner of India, if this country can provide a polling station for every person to exercise his or her franchise, why can't this same country with the same amount of officers, the same amount of system, thousands and millions of doctors, nurses, why can't they provide 2 drops of vaccine to every child at the same time? Because the strategy required that the children have to be vaccinated on the same day at the same time to replace the vaccine virus, wild polio virus with vaccine virus in the gut, so as to eliminate it, because the polio virus can't live outside the intestine of the small child. And we worked, and we started with a core group of 4 people, and then millions joined ultimately. Hundreds of organizations joined, and we could do it in Delhi. We ran around the country and we got it a national program, made it a national program in 95. And then when we did it in 95, Nelson Mandela took the initiative to South Africa. He had just come out of jail. He said earlier they were not doing, because India being home to 60% was not doing it. Nobody in the world was, means people said if India can't do it, how can we do it? So when we did it in 95, they started doing it in 96. And today when I talk to you, we are a polio-free certified nation for more than 3 years. Our last case was on 13th of January 2011 in Howrah. You know all this, but I mentioned this that because I want each one of you to go back from this program. This should not be a routine program that you came for the inauguration and you went back. Each one of you should have a very specific dream related to your field. It's not necessary that everyone should have a very big dream. You think about your potential, you think about your... But I have given you this example, and it's a personal example, it's not written in any book. I'm sharing it with you because I want all of you to develop this, some dream or the other. And this field of yours requires a lot to be done for the 125 crore Indians. This is the expectation of the Prime Minister from all of us, and I can assure all your leaders that whatever you want, whatever project you give, for science and technology to be done together, there are so many of our labs doing so much. But if the professional people, they align with these activities, which are probably happening in different silos at different places, but if they get this organized association, very soon we can find out great ready solutions. So friends, I think I have taken more than what you may have put for me, and I can keep on talking because it's a huge experience which I have enjoyed working with my professionals. But I can only say that I have been to thousands of functions all over the world, but I always enjoy going to the function of my own professional colleagues, and that's why I thought and both my doctors of my family, Dr. Vayesh Verma looks after my family, and Dr. Meera Verma looks after me. Both of them were also after me, but not that they were only after me. I also wanted to come. When your president had come one day, I said, I'll definitely come. It's only a matter of time when I'm able to come. So I really got this great feeling coming here, seeing all the state-of-the-art things and your future plans and your future passion. And I pray to God that all your endeavors for future, they are hugely blessed by Him. Thank you so much.